Hey, I'm Grant with Grant's Game Rex. Welcome to my monthly video on the best board games coming to retail. October is always an interesting month for retail releases because the largest board game convention in the world happens in October. It is in Essen, Germany. It happens towards the end of October, and about 200,000 people come to check out board games. And so there are a lot of games that release at Essen Spiele, but those are almost always European releases. This video focuses on North American retail releases, partly just because that's where I live and that's where I get information for mostly. So, you know, you might see some games that are coming out at Essen. They're not coming out here yet. Hopefully, an American distributor or American publisher will partner with a European or Asian or elsewhere publisher to bring those games to America. So oftentimes, you know, the things that release at Essen come to America the next year. So hopefully we'll be seeing some of the hotness from Essen coming to retail here in 2026 in North America. So I just wanted to let you know that, you know, if you didn't already know that this video focuses on North American releases. Also, you might know that I've been doing a really fun Green Team Wins live show at the Comedy Store in Los Angeles. I've got my next dates for my next one, Sunday, November 2nd. So yeah, if you find yourself in Southern California or you know other people in Southern California, please let them know. Sunday, why do I want to say September? Sunday, November 2nd at the Comedy Store, we'll be doing this really fun show that mixes stand-up comedy with a live game, and it's memorable, it's unique, it's fun. So let's get into the games for October. As always, I talk about these games in alphabetical order of the publisher. First up, in October, 25th Century Games is releasing Neko Syndicate. This plays 1 to 4 players in 20 to 40 minutes, and it is a medium weight game. This is a pretty unique sort of thinky filler game. You are tableau building with cards, but you're building a pyramid of cards. You'll have your sort of starter card, and then you're building cards underneath it in a pyramid shape, in a pyramid fashion, and you will be traveling down the cards and taking the actions listed on the cards. Every card has sort of a right and a left action on it, and you can go down either one and then activate the card below it, activate the card below it. The cool thing is everything on level 2, you get to do that action twice. Everything on level 3, you get to do that action 3 times. So there's a real engine building on how you're building your tableau. But it's also like sort of a recipe fulfillment game. Thematically, you are smuggling sushi, and you need to fulfill these sushi orders. Every card both gives you an action, but it also becomes the goals that you have to achieve for the game, the sort of recipes that you have to fulfill. So you're trying to get cubes onto different cards, and the further down in your pyramid, the more negative points it gets you if you don't fulfill that thing. So, you know, there's a risk of like, ooh, this will get me a really powerful action, but I also need to make sure to get it done. So it does feel like a pretty unique tableau building, engine building card game to me. So it's one I'm excited about. All right, 25th Century Games is also releasing Operation Barclay. This is a 2-player only game, plays in 25 to 40 minutes, and it is on the edge of lightweight to medium weight game. In the game, you are playing either as, it's a World War II theme, and you're playing either as the Allied forces or the German forces during World War II. More specifically, you're playing as the London Controlling Section, which is sort of a military intelligence wing, or you're playing as the sort of German counterpart, the Abwehr, their sort of intelligence wing. And so you have it's an asymmetric game in the sense that both players have different goals and different win objectives. The LCS player uses a variable setup, placing tiles face down to establish where in the Mediterranean a primary and a secondary offensive route will occur. And then over the course of the game, the German player is attempting to win sufficient evidence tokens to be able to turn enough of those tiles face up to reveal where the Allied forces are coming from. So as the Allied forces, you don't want information to leak, and as the Abwehr forces, you are trying to figure out information so you can deduce where they're coming from. You do that actually by playing poker hands. You are going to be playing cards down, and then whoever, wins the poker hand, whoever has the better hand is going to do certain things. But it's not just the poker hand. There's also symbols on the poker card. So whoever plays more of those symbols is going to get a benefit in a different way. And so there's sort of multiple ways to get benefits and multiple sort of ways to block the other player. If you're looking for a two-player strategy game that still plays decently quickly, then check out Operation Barclay. Asmodee is releasing the game Coloro. This is also a two-player only game, but plays in about 10 to 15 minutes, and it is a lightweight game. This one plays ages 8 and up, so if you're looking for a pretty puzzly game that you can play with younger audiences, then Coloro might be a good one for you. In the game, there's going to be a grid of a bunch of these tiles, and those tiles represent various origami shapes. And on your turn, there is sort of a marker, and the marker will have arrows going up or down or arrows going right or left, and you can take any tile that is in the row or the column that the arrows are pointing at. Then you move that marker to the space that you just emptied and turn the arrows. So it kind of keeps going around in a grid, and you are drafting tiles, collecting tiles, and it is a set collection game, but interestingly enough, it's not about getting a bunch of different sets. Whoever has the largest single set by the end of the game wins. So, if I can get 5 green tiles and you only got 4 pink tiles, then I'm gonna win that match. But plays pretty quickly, 10 to 15 minutes, so you can play it again if you want to. Asmodee, in association with Libellude, is releasing Take Time. This plays 2 to 4 players in about 30 minutes, and it is a lightweight game. This is a limited communication card game with some deduction elements to it. If you've played a game like The Mind or something like that, it's in that same family, in that same world. You're going to be playing cards face down around a clock, and various regions on the clock are going to have restrictions. These cards have to be below 5. These numbers have to be, but it has to add up to 8 to 12. Things like that. And so you can talk as much as you want before a round starts, where you're like, we need to play low cards here, we need to play high cards here. And then once the round starts, you are no longer allowed to talk. You're placing cards face down into different slots around the clock, and then you'll reveal the cards at the end of the game and see if you accomplish them. Did you meet the restrictions around the clock? There are 40 of those different clocks in the game, so that's where a lot of the replayability comes in. And, there's escalating difficulty, right? Like the first one's going to be pretty easy, and then it's going to keep getting harder. The challenges are going to keep getting harder and harder as you level up in clocks. But if you like some sort of limited communication deduction games, I'll say, this one looks really good too. Like it's very beautiful on the table for sure. So, that might be a reason you want to check it out as well. Asmodee is also releasing the party game In a Nutshell. This plays 2 to 20 players in about 20 minutes, and it is a lightweight game. It is a party game. And, with that sort of 2 to 20 players, you're going to play oftentimes in teams, and so it's just, you could probably play it with even more than 20 players if you want people, if people are on big teams and stuff. Production-wise, it's pretty cool. There is a sort of a contraption, I don't even know what you call it, but then you're going to be sliding out parts of the contraption and revealing words behind the slidey thingies. I'm really being eloquent right now. The slidey thingies on the contraption with the who's of what's and the guy was playing, that sort of thing. But what the way the game works is that is revealing, as you are revealing words, you're sort of revealing a question or a statement. And then a team can be the first to try to guess that statement. So here's a couple of examples. Like, if the words were finger licking blank is the slogan blank, which blank chain. So what do you have enough information there where you're like, finger licking good is the slogan of which fast food chain? And then you have to answer that. You have to come up with the answer to that. And I think that is KFC, right? And so that's you are having to deduce, you're trying to be the first to figure out what the question is and then also have the right answer for that question. What animal is blank as blank king blank blank jungle? Oh, what animal is known as the king of the jungle? Probably lion, baby. You knew I had to throw that example in there since my last name is Lion. So if you like a clever little party game, that is in a nutshell. Asmodee, in association with Go On Board, is releasing The Witcher Path of Destiny. Go On Board released a previous Witcher game, and this is not the same game. This is not an expansion. This is a totally separate game, but just using the same IP of The Witcher. The Witcher is a pretty popular graphic novel and TV show on Netflix, I think, or it's a show out there. And so The Witcher Path of Destiny plays 1 to 5 players in 45 to 90 minutes, and it is a medium weight game, but on the lower end of medium weight game. And in fact, this is much sort of a faster game and a less complex game than Go On Board's previous Witcher board game. In this game, there is a storytelling aspect to the game. There will be these story cards out on the table, on the board, and you are playing cards, you are building a tableau to influence the story. If more of a certain type of symbol is played, then this part of the story is going to happen. And if more of this type of symbol is going to be played, this part of the story is going to happen. So it's a sort of choose your own adventure, but you're influencing how the adventure happens. And it is still a competitive game, right? You are trying to play cards and get actions and making the best use of them and creating your own unique path in the saga. You'll all play as different characters, various famous characters from The Witcher, so there's a little asymmetry in how your characters play and how you sort of level them up throughout the game. But if you like a little bit of narrative in your games, or if you like this IP, then that's a reason to check out The Witcher Path of Destiny. Asmodee, in association with Office Dog Games, is releasing The Hobbit There and Back Again. This plays 1 to 4 players in about 30 minutes, and it is a medium weight game, but on the lower end of medium weight game. Actually played this last night multiple times with my roommates. And I say multiple times because there's actually 8 chapters in the game. They're all sort of standalone. You can play any chapter that you want to, but there is a little bit of following the narrative of The Hobbit, and so if you play them in order, you're kind of playing the story, and you're also, as you go on, they get more and more complex, so you're leveling up in complexity as well. But each of the sort of chapters is a bit of a different game with different win conditions and different rules. Now, they all share a lot of the same DNA, so it's not like you're playing a totally different game. The way the game works is you're going to roll a set of 5 dice, and you are going to draft those dice and use them on your board. So it's a roll and write game, but a pretty unique one. And, you know, these are all these dry erase sort of narrative chapter books. And so in the first one, in the first chapter, you're just trying to draw paths from various, why am I blanking on the killy, filly, what are they called? Are they trolls? They're not trolls. What are they? There's trolls you got to fight in it. They're dwarves. They're dwarves. I don't know why I was struggling for that. But you're trying to get the various dwarves to the Shire. You're trying to get them to Bilbo's house, and you can win if you do that faster than anybody else. So you're going to be drafting tiles, and those tiles are going to allow you to draw various shapes of paths on your board. They're going to get you swords that you need for fighting certain things. They're going to get you bread that you need for feeding the dwarves. They're going to get you various things, and it's it's just a cool, interesting, puzzly roll and write game. It is, and it does feel as you go up the chapters like, oh, okay, this one we gotta fight trolls on this one and stuff. You know, there's some new challenges for every chapter that you play, and it does feel pretty unique in the world of roll and writes to me. So yeah, if you like some narrative, if you like The Hobbit, or if you like roll and writes, check out The Hobbit There and Back Again. Bad Comet Games is releasing the game Shallow Sea. Plays 1 to 4 players in 30 to 45 minutes, and it is a medium weight game. This is a tile laying game, a drafting game, and a puzzly game. If you're a fan of puzzle games, then that would be a reason to check out Shallow Sea. At the top of the play area, there's going to be a bunch of tiles and fish, and it works like Cascadia. Like, you have to draft a tile and a fish that goes with it. If you spend this token, you can draft a fish that is associated with a different tile, that sort of thing. And then you're going to be playing them on your boards. And you're playing them, and on the side that you get, there is like restrictions or ways that it scores, things like that. If you can flip it over, you can score those points, but you need certain color fish around the tile. So if I have like a green, and a purple, and I got those 3 fish around this one, boom, I can flip that over, and now I can put one of those fish on that tile. And that is crucial that you put one of those fish on that tile, because then you can put a different tile somewhere else and have the color fish that you need there. And there is sort of this escalating puzzliness, because there are tiles where it's like, you get to flip this one over if the 2 ones above it are already flipped over. And so boom, boom, you're like creating combos and scoring points and trying to puzzle out how to get all these tiles on your board. So, it is, they call it, unlike typical puzzle games. And so, it's literally the activating, deactivating of those different tiles based on the fish that you put out there, based on the tiles that you flip over. It's sort of a multi-level puzzle game. So, yeah, and it's very pretty out there as well. So that is Shallow Sea. Devere Games is releasing the game Covenant. This plays 1 to 4 players in about 100 minutes, and it is a medium weight game. This is a solid medium weight game, if not even a medium plus weight game. The designer is the designer of like Batoku and some other games. So if you like those sort of medium plus weight Euro games with a lot of theme on them, then Covenant is that. You are playing as the dwarven. You're playing as dwarves, and you're trying to reclaim this sacred mountain. And they have noted that it's heavily inspired by Tolkien. So it does sort of. It's not a Lord of the Rings theme, but it feels Lord of the Rings-esque. You have a player board, and on it there is 4 main actions, and everybody has access to those same 4 main actions. But it's going to be how you activate them, how you use them, and then you start upgrading your player board and unlocking new actions and new abilities and new ways to put things out onto the main board. So while all of our boards start looking the same, by the end, they will be very different based on the choices we've made throughout the game. Your dwarf tokens and tools will allow you to do all kinds of actions, like dig into the mountain, defeat the enemies that live there, build all kinds of buildings that will bring the legendary dwarf city back to life. So, you are, as with any medium plus weight game, there's a lot going on the board and there's a lot of different paths to victory. This is a game where you will not be able to do anything and you kind of need to pick one or two things to specialize in because there's a lot of action selection available to you. And, but, looks very good on the table and stuff like that. That's Covenant. Direwolf is releasing the game Lightning Train. This plays 1 to 4 players in 60 to 120 minutes, and it is a medium weight game, or maybe even a medium plus weight game. This game was a big hit at Gen Con. It was certainly one of the talks of Gen Con, I would say. And now it's having its retail release for its first time. So if you didn't get a chance to get it at Gen Con, you can get it now. This is from the same designer as like Dune Imperium and some other very popular games. So I think it got notice originally partly for that. But it is also a unique mix of mechanics. It is a bag building, route building train game. So there's a lot of train games out there, and I don't know any of them that combine the bag building mechanism into the train game. So you will literally be getting tokens. You'll be getting these tokens to add into your bag, and as you pull them out, it's going to make your company more efficient. It's going to get you new actions or more resources or things like that. But then you're also going to be pulling tokens that you can add onto the board as trains. You are going to be building routes and sort of connecting various spots on the board, moving things along those spots, using other people's routes to move things, but then they get benefits if you do that. And so, I love I love bag building games because there's a lot of strategy into what you want to put in your bag, what way you're going to move your bag, but there's also just a lot of random excitement where you're like, I hope I get what I need right now. I love those big emotional moments, and so, you got to get the most value out of the deliveries available on the board. So if you like bag building or train games, you can combine the two in Lightning Train. Dranda Games is releasing Lost Lumina. This plays 2 players in about 15 to 25 minutes, and it is a lighter weight game, but a lighter weight strategy game, not a party game. This is an area control battle game for 2 players. You will be drafting every round. Both players get 2 cards, and you get to keep one of them and give one of them to your opponent. And we're going to do that a number of times in a row until we have, I believe it's 10 cards. So you're going to get 10 of the cards. So I have a little bit of information about what you have because I've given you half of the cards you have, but I don't know the other things. And those cards are going to have powers, a strength level to them for battles, but they're also going to get you actions. They're going to allow you to deploy more troops out on the board or move troops or do things like that. And then we are just fighting each other on the board. And whoever loses all their troops from the board first, if you have no reinforcements on the board, then you lose the game and you're out. So, but it's about using the abilities of the cards at the right time, right? It's laying down the cards. You have those 10 cards and you need to be smart about when you're playing stuff and how you're comboing cards together and moving your troops around the board. I know that this game had a Kickstarter at one point, actually quite a few years ago, but it finally has fulfilled and now it is coming to retail here. So yeah. If you want a 2-player sort of cutthroat battle game, then check out Lost Lumina. Fireside Games is releasing the game Helsing. This plays 1 to 4 players in 60 to 90 minutes, and it is a medium weight game. I had a chance to play Helsing at a convention in prototype form in like February or March, like earlier this year, and I've been anticipating it coming out because I loved my first play of it, but I've only played that once, so I'm itching to play it again. It is based on the best-selling graphic novel, Helsing, but you don't need to know that graphic novel to enjoy the game. I actually don't know the graphic novel at all, but there is a decent amount of silliness in the game, right? The art is very silly, there's some puns, but the gameplay is much more strategic and thinky than you might think based on the art style, right? There's some real game here. It is a cooperative game where you are going to be moving around the board, fighting little things, trying to prevent the big bad guy from getting to one particular spot on the board and try to defeat the big bad guy, but you got to beat little guys along the way as well. It is mostly the most unique thing about it is a card crafting game. So we are going to be buying cards and sleeving those transparencies into our starter cards and making them stronger throughout the game. You know, we're going to give ourselves more coins to buy better cards. We're going to give ourselves more attack ability, you know, more strength when we attack. We're going to get different things. We're also leveling up on tracks in front of us. As we defeat certain things on the board, we can level up on these tracks, and then that gets us benefits. And so we're all working together to sort of fight everything. And it feels like a very, you know, cooperative game in the sense that, like, we need to talk at the start of the round. It's like, okay, you go there and you defeat that guy, and then I'll come over here, and okay, we got a plan. We're going to move forward with this plan. I also felt like, you know, again, I only played one game of this, but it came down to the last turn, and it was like, if we got the card that we needed flipped, we were going to win, and if we didn't, we were going to be 1 point away from winning, and is it going to, and I love the tension of that, and we ended up losing, but we were so close, and I was like, oh, I want to do it again, I want to win, you know? So I appreciated that about it. I'm excited to play it more. Good Games Publishing is releasing the game Cytress. This plays 1 to 5 players in 40 to 100 minutes, and it is a solidly medium weight game. This is a really great looking game. You know, it's got this sort of dystopian, cyberpunky art style to it, and it also has a 3-dimensional board to it, so it has a lot of table presence for sure. As with any medium weight game, again, there is, you know, a decent amount of things going on in the game, but you're going to be playing cards out, or you're going to be doing worker placement and going to various spots, getting resources, sort of leveling up as you go up the levels on that board. You'll need more and more resources to go to higher levels on that board, and as you go up higher levels, you're going to get more and more cool stuff. And so, yeah, it looks really cool, and it has a lot going on for it. So this is another one that they did a campaign for it at some point, and then they actually sort of went back to the drawing board and retooled the game a bunch, like did a lot more development on the game. So I think this campaign was like in 2022. Like, it was a while ago, but then it took more developing the game and making sure the game was good before it was getting out there, and now it's getting out there, and so hopefully all that development work was well used, and I'm excited to check it out because of just how it looks and stuff. It looks so cool on the table, so yeah, I'm excited to check it out. Next up, Good Games Publishing is also releasing 12 Rivers. This plays 2 to 4 players in 45 to 75 minutes, and it's on the edge of that lightweight to medium weight game. Like, this is maybe, you know, one of those sort of welcoming strategy games, if you will. This is another one from Good Games that looks gorgeous on the table. There is a big marble run. The board has these rivers that are coming down, and hence why it's called 12 Rivers. And, you know, the marbles will run down, and you are essentially spending cards to place your player tokens in a worker placement aspect, but you're placing them on various spots to sort of dam up the river. And then when the marbles get there, you can draft one color of marble that you want from the ones that get there. So if you go higher up on the board, you're going to guarantee what marble you want, you know, because nobody else, there won't be as many branches there, so you're going to guarantee what you want, but you got to spend a lot of resources to get that, versus if you go to the bottom, you don't know what you're going to get, but, you know, you also don't have to spend resources. This is a game that, you know, it looks incredible on the table, but it's way more puzzly and there's way more game to it than I kind of thought there was going to be, you know. I got enamored with the marble run, which is certainly, you know, very visually pleasing, but there's a lot more game to it than I expected. You're also going to use those cards to get yourself actions. You can go draft new villagers, and then you have to get the right color marbles on the villagers to sort of sometimes to score them, or each of those villagers also has like some engine building aspect to it, like they might get you an ability during the game or more points after the game. It's one of the main ways to score points after the game, and so it's just a real puzzle of like, how do I want to manage my resources? How do I want to get the marbles that I want? I think they're called pearls in the game. I'm calling them marbles right now, but yeah, it's a game I've liked a lot. I've played probably 4 or 5 times, you know, and the look of it and the marble run is what attracts you to it the first time, but the kind of interesting engine building and the card play is what sort of keeps me coming back to it. Next up, Hachette is releasing the game Leaders. This is a 2-player only game, plays in 10 to 45 minutes, and it is on, you know, an upper lightweight game. This is a, you know, abstract sort of arena battle game a little bit, where each player will have a leader, but then you are going to draft various other champions during the game. There will be kind of a market of champions, and you can take a champion, put its standee on the board, and then also get its card with its abilities, and then you are going to be moving your leaders and champions around the board and activating their cards, and their, you know, every champion's going to have, this one moves in this way, this one can do this extra thing, you know, they're all going to have their little asymmetric ability, their special power, and you will win the game if you can either get 2 of your champions next to your opponent's leader, or if you can basically have their leader completely surrounded with any units, even their own. You know, if you can kind of box them in, those are the 2 ways to win the game. So if you're a fan of, you know, games like chess or things like that, a little bit abstract strategy game for 2 players, then Leaders, I think, is one that you would like. You know, it's about sort of activating your abilities in the right ways and moving around the arena and out-clevering your opponent. I don't even care if out-clevering is not a real word, because I just used it. Horrible Guild is releasing the game A Carnivore Did It. This plays 1 to 5 players in about 20 minutes, and it is a, you know, lighter weight game. I have played A Carnivore Did It, and 20 minutes is honestly a long time. I would say each case of A Carnivore Did It takes 5 minutes, maybe 10 max, but then you oftentimes play a number of cases in a row. And I say cases in the sense that this is a deduction game, but it's not a deduction game that has any narrative to it. It's not a deduction game where you're trying to figure out a murder or something like that. Essentially, it's a logic puzzle. And there is a lot of cases in the game. I mean, legitimately, there are 20 levels of cards, and each card has 100 or 200 cases on it, so there's like 20 times, like there's just a mind-boggling number of cases. And each level card, you know, if you play a level 1 case, it's going to be very basic, and then, you know, the other ones, as you go up from there, I think I'm saying the number of them right, I think there was 20 of them, because I've gone up to like 13, I think, at this point. And, you know, it's a little logic puzzle where you're like, okay, there are a number of suspects out on the on the board, and all of them have statements next to them. You know, the statements might be, the dog is saying, shark did it, and then the shark is saying, somebody under 170 centimeters tall did it, and then this one's saying, a vegetarian did it. And so we know from the sort of case, the directions of that case, we know how many people are lying and how many culprits there actually are. So we have to logic together, okay, if this person is lying, then there's only one lie. That means this has to be true, this has to be true, this has to be true. So that means this person did it. And so we're all kind of cooperatively trying to figure that out together. But also, I think this makes for a pretty good solo game too, because you can try to logic it out yourself. So yeah, I think it's a really good like introduction to deduction games because it scales so well in difficulty, and it's just an interesting logic puzzle for sure. Inside Up Games is releasing the game Ice and Idols. This plays 2 to 4 players in 45 to 60 minutes, and it is a medium weight game. Ice and Idols is, I think in general, Inside Up Games is making very unique games these days. They keep doing cool things that aren't being done in the board game hobby, and Ice and Idols feels like another game that is very unique to me. It is a pick up and deliver game with a real puzzly aspect to it and some sort of engine building, some like getting special abilities. But the way it works is there are a bunch of clear tiles on the board, and those clear tiles have paths on them. And underneath the clear tiles, there will be some idle spots. And so you're going to move your meeple along the paths and get to these idols. And then when you take those idols, you can deliver them for points. You can also slot them into your player board for the special ability of that idol as the game goes on. But it's almost like hard to explain. This is one where I recommend going and looking up more about it because it is so unique. The tiles, the board underneath the tiles can rotate. You can literally shift the entire board around underneath the clear tiles so it changes where things are as you look down through the clear tiles. Also, clear tiles are going to like get removed and they're going to like fall away and it's going to create cracks, and that path is no longer going to get to the idol that you wanted to. And so can you rotate the board? Can you shift things? Can you move this tile over here? Like, it's very puzzly in how you're sort of moving things around on the board. So yeah, if you want a unique game, check out Ice and Idols. Lime Green Games is releasing the game Coral Castle. This plays 1 to 5 players in 45 minutes, and it's on the edge of that lightweight to medium weight game. Coral Castle is a card drafting card combo game. You will be drafting and passing cards, you know, in a fairly standard way. Like, I'm going to get this hand of cards, I'm going to pick one, I'm going to pass them, I'm going to get more cards, I'm going to pick one, I'm going to pass them. But a lot of cards are going to combo together, and so you are trying to get cards that, you know, synergize with other cards you are playing. You know, ooh, if I play this card, it's going to give me a cool ability, but only if I play it with 2 plants. So I need to get 2 other plant cards. Well, this one, I need some coral to do that. And so you're trying to get cards that work well together. You are going to be moving up on tracks. Some of the stuff that the cards will get you is movement on the tracks. Some of them will get you pearls. Some of them will get you special abilities. You can use pearls to pay for expensive cards in the future. And again, it's all just synergizing through the cards that you are playing. You know, it also has these little clamshells where when you collect pearls, you put them in the clamshells, and that's fun, and I haven't seen that in a game before, and I'm a child, and I love things like that are in games. It makes me happy. And so that's one of the things that caught my attention about this one for sure. But if you like drafting or if you like card comboing, that's a reason to check out Coral Castle. Mind Clash Games is releasing the game Emberheart. This is the new game under their sort of Mind Clash Play line. Mind Clash a couple of years ago started a line of games that were more medium weight than heavyweight. You know, Mind Clash was originally known for some very, very big box heavyweight games, and now they've been releasing more medium weight games in this Mind Clash play line. You know, last year they did Ironwood, which I really liked. Emberheart plays 2 to 4 players in 60 to 90 minutes, and it is a very medium weight game. This is a game I've made content about, and I really, really like Emberheart. It's going to challenge. I don't know if it'll be in my top 10 of the year, but it's certainly going to get consideration from me for my top 10 of the year. It is a worker placement game, but it is pretty unique as a worker placement game because you have these crests that you put out on the board in a worker placement aspect, but you can't really put it out there by itself. Instead, you'll have these tokens, these discs of different workers, and you're going to bid on spots to take various actions. You know, there are different regions of the board, and each of those regions comes with its own action, and it, you know, one of the regions is going to get you a hero, and that will get you an ongoing special ability. This region's going to get you more workers. This region's going to get you dragon cards. This region's going to get you, you know, end game scoring cards, things like that. And as you go there, you have to bid a number of workers. So if I put 3 workers under my crest, I can go to the 3 spot of this one region. However, if somebody comes in with 4 workers or 5 workers, they outbid me, they get their first choice of cards or things or resources from that spot. So they get to pick before I do. But I don't want to just go hard with 5 if nobody else is going to go there, right? And I just really overpaid for that spot. And so you're trying to think about what other people want, what they're going for, how you can go get something that you need but not overpay for the things you need. I really like strategy games that have player interaction in them, and Emberheart has a ton of player interaction. There's a lot of thinking about what other people are going to do, and you know, the art is really pretty in the game. The look of it is really cool. You have some workers, like these gray workers, they're grunts, you're going to lose them each round, but then you have other specialized workers that you get back to your board after the round. However, they are more limited in the spots that they can go to. And so, you know, oh, the blue workers can only go to these 2 spots. And so do you want to get a bunch of those? Well, you better be going for those spots. And yeah, I just really like it a lot. It's a unique way to do worker placement that involves a lot of player interaction because you are having to bid for the worker placement spots. Next up on the list of best games coming to retail here in October is Viking Raiders from Neo Wolf Games. Neo Wolf Games is a German company, I think, and they had a crowdfunding campaign for this game like 3 years ago, and it's been available in Europe, but this is the first time it's going to have a retail release here in North America. So if you see the BGG listing for this one, it is listed as 2022, which it did come out then, but it hasn't actually come out to retail in America until now, which is why I mentioned that to you. Plays 2 to 5 players in 30 to 60 minutes, and it is a lighter weight card game. It is a strategy card game. You are playing as Vikings trying to, you know, build your village, be a chief, and then you're also going to be raiding other players. So you're going to get cards every turn. You're going to get some more cards, and you're going to use those cards to buy things from the market. A lot of the cards you're going to get in your hand are resource cards, and you are going to buy cards from the market, and that will help you build up your you know, your navy, your army, your village, things like that. The interesting aspect where this game is a little bit different than others is you can raid other players. You can play a raid card that lets me go try to steal cards from the other players. So if I say I'm raiding your navy and you have 3 navy cards, you're going to pick up your navy cards, but then you're going to add a couple more sort of random miss cards into that deck, and you're going to shuffle all of those up, and then I'm going to reach over and pick out 1 card from what you just shuffled up. If it's like a miss card, then my raid was unsuccessful. If it's a Navy card, boom, I just stole that, I pillaged you, and now I've got that in my tableau in front of me. I've just stolen that card from you. And so it's like a cool way. It's a simple, efficient, and fun way to do like combat of just like, all right, I'm coming after you, shuffle those cards, I'm gonna grab one, did I get something I want? No, dang it, I'll try again, you know? I think it's a combat system that works very well for a quicker playing card game, you know? That is Viking Raiders. Next up, Osprey Games is releasing Ayar, Children of the Sun. This plays 1 to 4 players in 60 to 90 minutes, and it is a medium weight game. This is thematically, you are advancing your clan and seeking the favor of the gods at the dawn of the Inca civilization. So if you're a fan of Inca history or anything like that, that might be a reason to check this out. It is definitely a Euro game. One of the interesting things is as you're taking actions, you have a bunch of these houses on your board, and as you're taking an action, you are removing a house from your board, and there is a grid, column, and row system to this. And when you remove when you remove a house in the same column that you did before, now you're going to get that at the power of 2. And if you remove another one, now you're going to get that at a power of 3. And if you do a row that already has one of the columns full, then you're going to do it a power, and so you are increasing the power of your actions as you're removing stuff from your grid. And that's pretty interesting. But you get less and less actions as the round goes on, right? The first round, you get a bunch of actions. The last round, you're only going to get a couple of actions, but they're going to be very powerful actions. So that's the interesting thing. At the beginning, you know, a lot of actions, not very powerful, and not many actions, but they're very powerful actions. You are also, as well as sort of advancing your own clan, you're going to be doing a bunch of stuff on your own player board and advancing your own clan. You also must influence the progress of the Ayar. There are 4 different color Ayars, and so as you remove things from your board and take various actions, you're going to need to move the corresponding you have these little like meeples, and they respond to their different colors, and so as you take an action with one of those, you're going to move that Ayar forward. And as the game goes on, various of those Ayars are going to come off the board. So by the end, only one of those will continue to be advancing. So that's an interesting aspect of the game too, is trying to figure out which one that's going to be and influence which one it's going to be as the game goes on. So you want to ensure the survival of those who reward you your most developed skills. So you want to ensure that the Ayar is still out there that's going to score you the most points. So sounds pretty interesting and unique for a Euro strategy game. Ayar, Children of the Sun. Riot Games is releasing the game Riftbound. This plays 2 to 4 players, and it is a medium weight game. You know, games play in 30 minutes to an hour or so. It is mostly meant to be a head-to-head card battle game, so I think 2 is, what the game is meant as, but there are other play modes, right? There's team modes, there's other things going on in Riftbound. And this is set in the League of Legends world. This is based on the very, very popular League of Legends video games, and this is the League of Legends trading card game. So if you want a tabletop game, or if you're a fan of TCGs, if you play Lorcana or Magic the Gathering or things like that, then Riftbound is a new game in that family, in that genre of games. You'll use a 50 card deck as characters from League of Legends. So every character has its own asymmetric deck. They will come with pre-crafted decks if you just want to jump in, but then there's also the ability to get extra stuff and build your own decks and, really dive into the world a lot if you want to. And again, each character is going to play pretty asymmetrically, so there's really an opportunity to, get to know the character and get to know its fighting style and things. It does one thing that I really like in games where you can kind of keep adding resources to play more cards each round. Instead of getting the right cards coming out in your deck, you'll just be able to add a resource every round, and those resources are going to help you pay for cooler and cooler cards as the game goes on. So I did have a chance to play this one once, and I enjoyed it, and I would like to play it more. Steve Jackson Games is releasing the game Purrfect Potions. This is a lightweight game that plays pretty quickly, but I literally cannot find online how many players it plays. So I can't give you that information for this one. But it is mostly a dice game. It's a, it's a family weight dice rolling game. So if you're a fan of dice games, then Purrfect Potions might be for you. You're going to roll the cat die and then the moon die to see which potions the cats are going to help you with, and then you'll roll the ingredient die and try to complete as many potions as possible. So you're just rolling dice, trying to finish cards. Various sort of tiled cards are going to be like, this one needs 2 4s, and this one needs a 1 2 3 4, and this one needs, and they have die restrictions on them, and so if you can roll the things you need, you're gonna basically brew that potion. So that's the way to score points, is brewing the right potions. So if you want a family rolling dice game with about cats and potions, I suppose 'tis the season, right? It is here. We're in spooky season where witches and potions make sense. So that is Purrfect Potions. Stonemaier Games is releasing the game Origin Story. This plays 1 to 5 players in about 45 minutes, and it is a medium weight game. This is a trick-taking game at its core, but most trick-taking games don't have a lot of theme to them. They're just card games. Well, Origin Story is a trick-taking card game with a lot more theme. You are playing cards as a superhero. You're a budding superhero, and the cards you play are going to be your abilities, your sort of special abilities. It's you discovering your superpowers as the game goes on. So there's a tableau building aspect in that you're going to play out cards to get you various abilities. And then the trick-taking aspect of the game is pretty standard. It's pretty, normal, where there's 4 different suits and 1 suit is trump and the highest card wins unless trump is played, that sort of thing. So, but you will have all of these special powers, and you can activate those special powers as you go on. And it might be like, if you win the first trick, you're going to get extra points, or if you can win 2 tricks, you're going to do this thing. And so every time you play it, it's going to be a little bit different based on the special abilities and the superpowers that you've given yourself as you play. So I've heard really great things about this one, and there's a lot of replayability in sort of charging your cards, which cards you're going to play and which abilities you're going to have for that game. So if you want a trick-taking game with some real theme to it, check out Origin Story. Wise Wizard Games is releasing the game Locus. This plays 1 to 5 players in 30 minutes, and it is a lightweight game. This is a and write game. It's not a roll and write, there's no dice, but it is writing stuff on sheets and scoring points on the sheets for how you write stuff on there. Every turn, players are going to choose a colored shape to draw on your score sheet, and every score sheet, everybody's sheet, has 5 different regions, 5 different colored areas that score points in various different ways. And so it's about putting the shapes in the right places to score the most points and be more efficient than anybody else at the table. But you want to try to, not block yourself and collect as many bonuses as possible. As with many and write games, there's a lot of comboing bonuses and stuff. So just get the most points in Locus. So that's what I got for you this month. Those are 25 games coming to retail here in North America in the month of October. If you are going to Essen Spiele in Germany, I hope you have a wonderful time, and I hope you get to see a lot of great games there and get to check out some cool stuff. You know, there's a lot of games that will be out there. I'll be back. As always, I do a best expansions coming to retail video and a best new additions coming to retail video. So if you're interested in more games, I will be back with more of those videos soon. Thank you so much again for being here. Please like, subscribe, you know, share these videos all the time. It takes a lot of research and a lot of work, and I'm glad that people are appreciating, and hopefully it helps you find some good games that work for you. All right, thanks so much, everybody. I'm Grant with Grant's Game Rex.